Hi Facebook friends, Amy Lines here. I was just preparing some data for a class I'm getting ready to teach for first-time homebuyers, and I thought I would just share it with the whole universe. So let's see how this goes. Specifically, I'm talking to anyone who's maybe sitting on the sidelines thinking they should have bought a house in the last 2 years. Maybe they're waiting for interest rates to come back down. I want to talk to you specifically. So let me just tell you, I'm going to compare this market that we are in September of 2022 compared to last year. So I'm going to use August data, but it's all within the last couple of weeks. So our median sales price last August was $400,000, and our median sales price this past August of 2022 was $451,500. That's almost a 13% increase in price. So for anyone who's saying, oh, the market's crashing, or there's any sort of concerns about a crash coming soon, there are no economic indicators that point to a crash. As a matter of fact, a 13% increase in pricing is really high. I'm going to guess that many of you with a 401k would love to have seen a 13% increase in your 401k in the last year, and you didn't see it. But we are seeing it still in real estate values. No, we're not seeing 25 and 30% like we saw for a while, but 13 is very, very healthy. And then the median rent price, however, at the same time has gone up from $1,870 on average to $2,124 per month. That's according to Zillow for the Phoenix market. So when you hear about people talking about a hedge against inflation, meaning that home ownership is a hedge against inflation, this is specifically what they are talking about. The tenants who are renting properties right now that used to rent for $1,870 per month, and guess what? 3-4 years ago, they were probably renting that same place for $1,200 or $1,300 a month. They are now paying $2,124 per month on average, and they had no control over that. It happened to them, no control. When you purchase a home and you lock in your payment for 30 years, even if you don't stay in that house for 30 years, you are locked in for the period of time that you own that house. And it doesn't matter what inflation does, up or down, you are able to control your housing costs. That's a really big deal with inflation being as unpredictable as it has been recently. Let me also point out that last year, our active inventory for single family residences in the Phoenix metro area was about 6,879 properties for sale in the month of August of 2021. This past August, we had 15,716. That might sound like a significant change, and it is a big change, but all that means is we've gone back to what we consider a normal market. 15,000 is not particularly high for our market, for the number of homes that we sell per month. On average, in the Phoenix market, we tend to sell 9, 10, 12,000 houses every month. So if we have 15,000 available at any given point, that's not extreme. I remember the days, I'm showing my age, but I remember the days where we had 25, 30, 35,000 homes on the market at any given point, and we weren't selling very many. So this is average, this is normal, this is healthy, this is okay. Also, our supply. So based on the pace of the market, last August, it would have only taken us about 3 weeks to sell the 6,800 homes. If no other houses hit the market, how long would it take at that pace to sell all of the inventory? About 3 weeks. It now would take us about 3 months to sell them. No new houses hit the market. Based on current pace, it would take us about 3 months to sell all of the inventory. What does that mean for home buyers? They have choices, right? They don't have to make driveway decisions on which house they're going to purchase. They can go look at a house, and guess what? They can go look at it again. Guess what? They can bring mom and dad to give a second opinion. They can think about it. They can look at the neighborhood more closely. They can make solid investment decisions that they don't have to make very quickly. And they certainly don't have to buy houses sight unseen like what we saw over the last couple of years. So this is a good thing for home buyers. Yes, guess what it means for home sellers? They have to actually participate in the real estate transaction again. They have to prepare their house for sale. They have to price it accordingly for the market conditions. They have to do some repairs. Yes, it has to appraise. All of those things that are considered normal part of a real estate transaction, sellers haven't had to do for the past couple of years, and now they're having to do it again. What amount of cash would have been needed to purchase a house last year compared to this year? This is significant. The difference is significant. We had so many people coming in from out of state that were bringing a lot of cash with them, and they were buying homes well over appraised value. They were putting, let's say, 20% down plus agreeing to cover the difference if the house didn't appraise. That meant that it was very common for 20-25% of the sales price of the home to be cash and the rest was financed. If the person wasn't paying cash completely, if they weren't just buying it outright with cash, but if they were actually financing, it was very common to see in excess of 20% of the sales price was being brought in by cash. That means that most of our first-time home buyers were being eliminated from that market. They could not compete. So unless mom and dad had a bunch of cash that they were willing to loan their kids or give their kids, those children, and children I mean in their 20s, couldn't buy a house. They just couldn't compete in that market, but they can today. It's a really big deal. We need first-time home buyers to always be the bottom rung to buy that first house so that everybody else on that ladder can move up to the next house. And that is an important part of our real estate market. It makes for a healthy market, and it means that we don't end up selling to a bunch of investors, right? We want homeowners to live in their house. So, cash needed last year, approximately $80,000 to buy a $400,000 house. This year, a first-time home buyer or any buyer who just wants to put 5% down, even 3.5% down as an option for some, we are now talking about $22,000 to get into a house. That's such a significant difference, and it's not being talked about enough. So with that difference, which is $58,000 difference in cash, you are now opened up to a whole new group of buyers who can purchase. The interest rate was around 3% last year, ridiculously low. That is not a healthy sign of a healthy economy. When the interest rate to purchase a house for 30 years is locked in at 3%, something else is wrong in the economy. So the interest rates going up means that we are going back towards more of a stable economy. Yes, we're trying to get inflation under control, but an interest rate at 5.5% or 6% is normal. That's what the interest rates have been for most of the 24 years that I've been selling real estate. They've been above 5%. So it's not uncommon to see interest rates in this range. So if anyone is waiting on the sidelines for interest rates to come down, guess what? Two things are going to happen. If interest rates come down again, it means something else is wrong with the economy. Maybe you just lost your job. Maybe there's a bigger issue going on in the global economy that now is the bigger problem, right? And guess what else happens when the interest rates come down? Everybody else floods back into the real estate market, right? And now we're back to having $80,000 as your minimum interest to purchase a house, the minimum amount of cash you need to purchase the house. So that's not a good thing. Interest rates being where they are means that we are going back towards more of a stable real estate market. Then guess what? If you buy now and the interest rates do go down to, let's say, 4.5% and you locked in at 5.5%, you can always refinance. That's always an option. But if by next year they're at 6.5% and you didn't buy, you're not going to be able to get 5.5% again, right? So you don't want to miss out on this normal interest rate in case they do go up in the future. The other thing to keep in mind is at 3% for that $400,000 house, the monthly mortgage payment was around $1,500. That was less than what the rent was, right? Which is one of the reasons that so many people were buying houses last year, the last couple of years. The interest rate being at 5.5% roughly today, and I put an asterisk next to the interest rate. It depends on your credit score, it depends on your down payment. There's a lot of factors involved. I'm just using this as a rough example. But if the interest rate was at 5.5% and you bought a 451 house, your principal and interest would be $2,681. That's a significant difference. That's a big jump. But guess what you can do today that you couldn't do the last 2 years? You can ask the home seller to help participate in your closing costs and help you buy yourself a better interest rate. That's always been an option in real estate. It's just that sellers didn't have to do it for the past couple of years because they had 15, 20 offers on their house. They didn't need to do this. So therefore, you can now ask the seller, who's now negotiable, to contribute towards your interest rate. If they agree, then now you can get your interest rate. Let's say you save 3/4 of a point. Now you're closer to 21.20, right? 21.20 is roughly what the current rent payment is anyway. But you would be locking that in. It would be inflation proof. It's not going to go up on you. But if the interest rates go down, you can refi. Okay? There's a lot of good things for first-time home buyers or those who are sitting on the sidelines. There's a lot of good things about this market, and I encourage you to reach out to me, reach out to your favorite lender, and see if this is the right time for you to purchase, because this is a great market for a lot of choices and a lot of negotiating power for buyers. Call me with questions. Thanks, guys.